Greetings to you, Dr. Stephen Mujay here. October is Cybersecurity Month, and today I am coming to talk about deepfakes. So in this recording, I'll talk about some of the things that you can do to protect against deepfakes. I'll also talk about some of the things that you can do to detect deepfakes. Okay, so the number of deepfakes has been on the rise lately, and the New York Times reported this story a couple of weeks ago, and the headline, as you can see on the screen, says deepfake caller poses as Ukraine official in exchange with key senator. So yes, this is real. This happened to the United States Senator, Benjamin Cardin. And just to give you a little bit of information in terms of what transpired, or before this phone call, Senator Cardin had interactions with the former foreign minister from Ukraine by the name Dmitry Kuleba. So Senator Cardin knew who Kuleba was. He knew his voice. They had communicated before. And when this Zoom call came, it came from somebody who was impersonating Kuleba, right? So obviously, being the senator, I'm sure he has a lot of some staff on his team. They did their vetting, and they verified that this impersonator was real. So a Zoom call was set up, and they started having a conversation. And as they were talking, initially it seems like everything was adding up. But later in the conversation, the person who was impersonating Kuleba started asking questions like, do you support long-range missiles into Russia territory? And at that point, the senator and his team realized that something was not adding up. The person seems to have been acting out of character. And at that point, they ended the conversation. Not only did they end the conversation, they also alerted some law enforcement official. And it turned out that this indeed was fake. So it was not Kuleba, it was somebody who was impersonating Kuleba. Deepfakes are real. We have seen them all over the place. I believe there was a story that happened in Hong Kong where a finance person paid out more than $25 million after having a video conversation with somebody who was impersonating the chief financial officer, right? So the man was convinced that he had had a conversation with the chief financial officer, and he paid out $25 million. In Canada, I think there were 3 Canadians who were fooled into investing more than $300,000 after having a conversation with somebody who looked like the Canadian Prime Minister. For individuals, we have had situations of maybe a son who calls their grandparents and say, I am in trouble. Please don't inform my parents. I have been arrested. Can you please send me bail money? And grandparents, being concerned about their grandson, would send some money to their son so that he can be released, right? So these are fake people. And with the use of AI, it's so easy to impersonate somebody's voice. It's so easy to impersonate somebody's picture, and have a video call with somebody who may look like maybe your spouse, your children, somebody who sound like your children. It's so easy. And therefore, it becomes important for you and me to be aware that there is an ongoing problem with deepfake. If it can happen to Senator Cardin, it can happen to you, and it can happen to me as well. So I'm going to be talking about some of the things that you can do to detect deepfakes. And let me give credit where it's due. The next 3 slides are coming from the Department of Homeland Security and governmental agents in the United States. And they have put out these pointers in terms of how you can detect deepfakes. And deepfakes can come in 3 different categories, at least based in this context. It could be a video or photos. It could be a voice, or it could be a text. So how can you detect any of those? Let's begin with images and videos. I'm not going to read everything here, but I'll just point out some of the important ones. You as an individual, should you receive a video call, a deepfake video call, make sure you check for blurring evidence in the face, but not elsewhere in the image or in the video, right? So this could be a pointer that the video conversation you are having is a deepfake, blurring evidence. Change of skin tone near the edge of the face, double chins, double eyebrows, or double edges on the face. These could be indications that the video call or the image is fake. Also check whether the face gets blurry when it is partially obscured by a hand or another object. The lower quality sections throughout the same video, box-like shapes and cropped effects around the mouth or the eyes and the necks. So those could be indications that the video call is deep fake. Or blinking movements that are not natural. Check for those if you are participating in a video call or when you get messages. The changes in the background and lighting. And then the last one, contextual clues, right? For this one, you check for the background scene. Is it consistent with the foreground and the subject? Okay, so these are some signs that you can use to determine if an image or video is fake. So for audio, because there are some situations where audio has been involved, those phone calls, check for choppy sentences, varying tone, inflection in speech, and then phrasing. Would the speaker say it that way, right? So if it's your son, do they really talk that way, right? So check for the phrasing, contextual message. Is it relevant to a recent discussion, or can they answer related questions? You may want to come with maybe code words, ask them something that only the son would know, and then contextual clues, background sounds consistent with the speaker's presumed location. But I have to tell you that even though this could be helpful, it seems like with technology, it's getting better and better, and it's getting easier to generate audio that can overcome some of these, but still be aware of it, right? And then when it comes to text messages, the first thing that that the Department of Homeland Security is telling us is for you to check for misspellings in text messages. That can be a cue as to whether the text message is fake. Lack of flow in sentences. Is the sender from a known number or email address? This is really huge. And you may want to be careful in terms of how you answer phone numbers from unknown senders. The phrasing and the contextual messages, that is also important when it comes to detecting deepfake text messages. Okay, so now that we have pointed some of the things that you can do to detect it, let's talk about some of the tips that you can use to protect yourself. The first one is it's important for you to stay informed, right? So Be aware that deepfakes are real. This is happening. They are being created, and as I mentioned, if you have the right equipment, you can generate deepfakes within minutes, right? So be aware of this, stay informed, and be critical as well. Verify the content sources, the things that you hear. Do not just accept anything that you hear from face value. Make sure you verify the authenticity of the things that you receive. And then the next one is not to answer phone calls from unknown numbers, right? So somebody may call and sound like your son when they are not. But before you can get to that point where you are answering, do not answer the phone call. Let the voicemail get it, and then you can return the phone call. But don't call the number that came. Call a familiar number. That way you can verify if it's accurate. And then the use of AI and deepfake detection tools. There are different detection tools out there that you can use, including Deepfake Scanner. Microsoft has the Microsoft Video Authenticator, and then there is the Sensity AI. These are some tools that you can use. They can be very helpful, especially when it comes to detecting some video calls that you may have. And then should something be suspicious happen to you, make sure you report the deepfake and report it to law enforcement officials. This might vary depending with where you are, but in the United States, you can report this to the FBI, the closest law enforcement officials that are close to you. If it's on social media, different social medias have a way that you can report something that is not appropriate. So use those tools to report. That can protect you, and it can also help in protecting others. And then the next thing that I'll talk about is strengthening privacy and online security. Limit the stuff that you share on the internet. Be careful of the things that you share on the internet. And then also make sure you use some privacy settings on if you're on social media. Restrict who has access to your content, right? So maybe you may want to consider sharing things with just your friends and not share it with the rest of the world, because you can open yourself to these bad people who may end up coming back to scam you. And then the last tip that I'll talk about is educate those around you. Make sure you inform your loved ones about the dangers that are associated with deepfake. Make sure you spend some time reading or researching some of these things so that you are aware that they happen, right? It's important to stay informed, but not just yourself, your uncles, your grandma, your grandparents. Inform them so that they can be protected as well. That would be all for this recording. And once again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be glad to share more information with you. Once again, thank you for watching.